The desert was a living thing, breathing heat, whispering secrets, swallowing men who thought they could cross it. I had been out there for 2 days, driving through the cracked heart of Nevada, testing a new piece of equipment for my employer Parallax Research. My job was simple: collect atmospheric readings near the dry basins where strange magnetic anomalies had been reported. But simplicity has a way of dissolving when the unknown starts whispering your name. The day it happened, I was parked beside a dried-out riverbed, a silver strip of dust shimmering under the merciless sun. My instruments had begun to hum, a faint, irregular pulse like a heartbeat. The readings spiked in a way they never should have, and the air felt different. It was thicker, almost syrupy, as if space itself was being folded like paper. That was when I saw the light. It wasn't lightning. It wasn't a flare. It was a sphere of translucent blue hovering a few feet above the cracked earth. At first I thought it was a drone, a prototype from the Air Force or some private contractor testing stealth tech. But then it expanded like a breath taken by something alive, and the ground around it shimmered with heat distortion. And then she fell out of it. The sphere blinked out like a candle in the wind, and she landed in the sand with a soft thud. She wasn't human. Not entirely. Her skin had a faint opalescent sheen, pale like moonlight on water. Her hair, if it could be called that, was a cascade of thin filaments that shifted color when the wind touched them. She wore something that looked woven from glass and silk, clinging to her form yet glowing faintly at the seams. Her eyes were wide, silver, and uncertain. She looked up at me with an expression halfway between terror and pleading. I ran toward her. Instinct, not logic, drove me. She looked dehydrated, her lips dry, movements sluggish. Her breathing was erratic. I rummaged through my pack, pulled out my canteen, and knelt beside her. "Here," I said, unscrewing the cap. "You need this." She didn't understand me. At least, not the words. But she looked at the canteen, then at me, and reached out with trembling hands. Her fingers were long, elegant, jointed slightly differently than ours. She took the canteen, sniffed it, then looked at me again as if asking permission. I nodded. "Go on." She drank. The first sip made her flinch, as though the sensation was both foreign and overwhelming. Then she drank deeply, 3 long swallows, and gasped, clutching the container like it was the most precious thing in the universe. When she was done, she looked at me, eyes glistening with something that felt human, gratitude, and then she grabbed my hands. Her skin was cool to the touch, but there was a faint vibration, a hum that traveled from her palms into mine. It wasn't static. It was language. Not words spoken aloud, but thoughts, impressions, sounds that came not through my ears but directly into my mind. Like music without notes. Then, suddenly, I understood. Her voice, inside my head, was clear, melodic, trembling. "You gave me water. You gave me life. The earth still remembers kindness." Froze. Every nerve in my body fired at once. "You can talk," I stammered. She tilted her head slightly as though translating, her eyes narrowing with concentration. "I speak through touch. Words are slow. You are slower still." I laughed nervously. "Yeah, that sounds about right." She released my hands, and the connection faded. Her breathing steadied. She looked around the barren expanse of desert, confusion and sorrow washing over her features. "This place was not meant to be so dry," she said. "It used to sing." "What do you mean?" I asked, but she didn't answer right away. She stood, weak but graceful, and looked at the horizon where the mountains met the molten sky. "How long has it been since the first calling?" I blinked. "I don't know what you mean." She turned to me. "The signal. The message your world sent. The one that pierced the veil." hit me. The signal could only mean one thing. The Voyager probes, or perhaps the deep space transmissions humanity had sent decades ago, our cosmic greeting cards to whoever might be listening. You came because of our broadcasts. Yes. She nodded faintly. We heard your songs. We thought you were ready. Ready for what? She hesitated, as if afraid of the truth. To join the chorus of worlds. Before I could ask more, the ground rumbled. My instruments in the truck started beeping wildly. The air shimmered again. Same distortion as before, only stronger. The alien woman staggered, clutching her head in pain. What's happening? Shouted. She looked terrified now. They found me. Who? My keepers. They will not allow this world to awaken. The sky darkened, not with clouds but with shapes. 3 of them descending rapidly. Sleek, metallic, silent. Not planes, not drones, something beyond either. I felt a chill run through me. We have to move, I said, grabbing her arm. I dragged her toward my truck, started the engine, and floored it toward the dunes. Sand kicked up behind us in waves. The ships followed, moving effortlessly like sharks gliding through air. Why are they after you? I asked, breathless. She pressed her palm against the dashboard, and suddenly the radio flickered on, though I hadn't touched it. Her voice came through the static. Because I broke their order. Because I believed your kind could still change. Change? Into what? Survivors. A beam of light shot past us, scorching the sand. I swerved hard. The truck fishtailed but kept moving. My heart slammed against my ribs. I glanced at her. What do they want from us? Her eyes glowed faintly. Your planet was marked long ago as unstable. Too violent. Too divided. The chorus decided it was safer to let it fade. That's genocide, said. She met my gaze. No, it is maintenance. They do not see death as cruelty, only correction. I couldn't process it. I was talking to an alien fugitive who apparently came to save us from some galactic extermination committee. My world, the entire human race, was nothing more than a cosmic mistake to be erased. Then one of the ships unleashed another beam. It struck a nearby ridge, exploding in a blinding burst. The shock wave rolled over us. The truck flipped, metal screaming. Blacked out. When I came to, the sun was lower. My head throbbed. The alien woman was kneeling beside me, her hand over my chest. A faint light pulsed from her palm, soothing the pain. You're healing me, I whispered. She nodded weakly. Not much time. Her other hand pointed toward the sky. The ships were circling higher now, as if recalibrating. I must call them off, she said. But I need your help. What can I possibly do? She held up the canteen, the same one I'd given her water from. Only now it glowed faintly blue. This water is your world's memory. Song. I can amplify it through your machines. My instruments. She nodded. They read the sky. They can send the song back. I scrambled to my equipment case and powered the main transceiver. It was only meant for local data transmission, but she touched it and the circuits lit up like a living network. The frequencies danced across the screen in ways no human system ever could. What do I broadcast? Yes. She closed her eyes and pressed her palms against the device. Everything. Every act of kindness your people have ever done. Every mercy. Every hand that fed the hungry. Every tear shed for another's pain. That's not data, I said. That's emotion. She smiled faintly. To them, it is the only data that matters. And then the transmission began. The air trembled. The light from the equipment rose in spirals, blending with her energy. The desert itself seemed to hum. I could feel it, like the earth was remembering who it was. The ships halted midair. One flickered and vanished. The others shimmered uncertainly, then retreated upward into the blue until they were gone. The light faded. The machine went silent. She collapsed into the sand. I caught her before she hit the ground. Hey, stay with me. Her skin was cooling rapidly. The opalescent glow dimmed. She looked up at me with a faint smile. You changed the song. They will listen now. You saved us, I said, choking up. No, she whispered. You did, when you gave me water. Her eyes fluttered closed, and a faint breeze lifted the filaments of her hair. For a moment I thought she was gone, but her body dissolved into shimmering motes of light that drifted upward, like dust caught in sunlight. Then there was only silence. I sat there for hours, staring at the horizon. The desert felt different. The wind softer. The hum in the air gone. When I finally drove back to civilization, I thought no one would believe me. And they didn't. Parallax called it heatstroke and data corruption. My instruments had recorded strange frequencies, yes, but nothing they could interpret. Still at night when I close my eyes I hear it. Low and distant. Like the heartbeat of the world, waiting to be heard again. Sometimes when it rains, I swear the drops shimmer faintly blue. And sometimes when I dream, I see her face in the water, smiling. But the world didn't stay the same after that day. In the weeks that followed, the air monitors across Nevada began picking up strange fluctuations. Minor changes in the magnetic field, subtle temperature shifts, particles that didn't belong to any known spectrum. Scientists dismissed it as interference, but I knew better. It wasn't interference. It was her song, still echoing, still trying to be heard. Rains returned to the basin that hadn't seen moisture in decades. Seeds long buried beneath sand began to sprout tiny shoots of green. News outlets called it a meteorological anomaly. Called it a promise kept. I kept her canteen. It no longer glowed, but every time I touched it, a faint hum vibrated beneath the metal, like a pulse. Like she was still out there somewhere, watching, waiting. One night, months later, I drove back to that same desert ridge where it all began. The sky was perfectly clear, and the stars looked close enough to touch. I stood there for hours, holding that canteen, wondering if she had truly died, or if she'd gone back to her world, carrying the memory of what we'd shared. And then I saw it. A single point of light, streaking across the heavens. Not a meteor. Too slow, too deliberate. It paused for a heartbeat, glowing brighter, and I heard it again. That soft vibration, that voice without words. Remember, Earth still sings. The light faded into the night sky, and I smiled through the tears that came unbidden. 'Cause somehow I knew what she meant. Our kindness, the smallest acts, the forgotten gestures, the love we give freely, it matters. It resonates beyond our world. It reaches ears we'll never see. And maybe, just maybe, that's what saves us, not technology, not power, not conquest. Just the simple act of giving water to a stranger who has fallen from the stars. As I turned to leave, the horizon shimmered faintly blue, just for an instant, like the desert itself exhaled. I whispered into the night, "We'll keep singing." And the wind answered back, soft and steady, carrying her voice across the sand. Then your world will live.